Attorneys connected to Angel Vause's case are holding a press conference following her sentencing to 18 years in prison for lying to investigators about her role in Brittany Drexel's murder. Let's take a listen.
Guilty plea fell through. There was a conversation between Angel Vause and Ray Moody. You may or may not know, jail calls are recorded every time, and so we were able to obtain a copy of that recording. It wasn't really relevant until the defense filed their sentencing memo, where they said Angel was a victim of Ray was manipulative, and all of these things. If you listen to the jail call as we did, it's very much the reverse of that. Angel was very much in charge of the conversation. She was defiant, she was belligerent, she was profane. She was not someone who seemed to be under Ray Moody's thumb. Very strong-willed, belligerent, defiant woman.
There was also a lot of talk about Angel playing a much larger role in this whole case than the defense obviously made out to be. You were clear about that. The judge was clear about that.
Yeah.
What's your take on sort of the 18-year sentence and the judge's interpretation of your argument?
Well, we always evaluate evidence. And so we had evidence from when Angel pled guilty, and then that evidence got further developed after her guilty plea when Ray Moody reached out for the government and said, I want to talk to you. The FBI corroborated as much as they could of what Ray Moody said, and a lot of it held. But the judges thought, I believe, it would be cleaner if we stuck to the facts that were known at the time of the guilty plea, and also that those were adequate to support the 18-year sentence. So there wasn't really, the judge was playing the long game. He wants the sentence to hold just like we do, and it would have been an appellate issue or whatever if we started to get into what Ray had said. So that's why we stuck to what was known when she pled guilty, and like the judge said, and we agree, it was sufficient.
You asked the judge for 24 years, and he only granted 18.
Right.
Can you talk about that, as well as he had mentioned that he was going to consider that upward variance?
Right. Well, it's extraordinary, even to start with, that he considered the upward variance. Very rare that it happens. As I mentioned, he did it with Murdoch, and then there was a case probably 10, 15 years before that I'd had. She's a 57-year-old woman. 18 plus 57 is 75. It's a long time. So it's a significant sentence. As I told Judge Gergel, I wasn't just saying that. He's a wise and thoughtful judge. And I think considering all the sentencing factors, 18 years is good. 18 years is good. That gives her a long time to think about it.
Do you think this is closure, like the last piece of the puzzle, or there's more to come?
If you talk about the investigation, I would say yes. If you talk about the family, as I mentioned in there, just to address that, the criminal justice system, this courthouse, us, there's punishment and there's deterrence, but as far as closure to the family and healing and all that, we can't really. So there's two ways. The investigation is done. But the family obviously will be in our thoughts. This will be something they live with forever. You can obviously see very raw emotion in there as the family was talking, and I don't think that'll dissipate.
So saying that there's no potential for any additional charges to ever be brought?
I mean, at this point, we have, it was Ray Moody and Angel Vause who abducted Brittany, kidnapped her, raped and killed her, disposed of the body, hid it for all those years. So, no, there's no evidence of anybody else's involvement.
Throughout the hearing today, we saw Judge Gergel interrupt Mr. Cochran several times.
Right.
What is just your take on that, of how he understood everything that was presented in your sentencing guidelines, or in what you presented for sentencing?
So we obviously submitted a comprehensive sentencing memo with, 15, 18 exhibits or whatever. It was clear that Judge Gergel had read all of that, absorbed it, considered it in arriving at his sentence, and I think that was the basis. Some of the things that Judge Gergel was pressing the defense on obviously sounded very familiar. So I was glad that we provided some information, but also obviously he was very thoughtful about it himself as to what he wanted to consider and what he didn't.